Hello everyone, welcome to my Football Manager 2017 Blackburn Rovers save. This is episode 18 and we've got a big game coming up against Man City. They're in 6th place in the Premier League, we're in 8th place. We're away at the City of Manchester Stadium, or the Etihad Stadium. Who knows what's going to happen? They beat us last year in the FA Cup, and if you ask me, I think it's about time we get some revenge. Now, as some of you awesome people will know, if you watched the last episode, you'll be more than aware of the fact that we've got a really tough run of games coming up. Man City now, then away at the Bridge against Chelsea, then away at the Emirates against Arsenal. Not really expecting to get maybe more than 2 points out of a potential 9 here, but the way I'm going to do this is each one of these games is going to be an episode. My episodes have kind of been a little bit slow recently because of work and things like that. I've not really been able to find the time to record episodes. So we're going to try and make each game an individual different episode, try and discuss in detail what tweaks I'm making and why. And yeah, we'll go from there, and hopefully it's going to be a fun few episodes. Alright then, here we are at the Etihad Stadium up against Pep Guardiola's Man City. Now, they didn't manage to win the Premier League last season. They're only in 6th place this season. And to be fully honest, I'm kind of baffled as to how on earth they are in 6th place. Their side is even better than it is in real life. They've got company back, bar Bravo, of course. Yeah, enough said about Bravo. They brought in Fabinho, I believe from Monaco. At right back. This guy looks unbelievable physically, perfect fullback. They've got Nasri on one wing, which is kind of interesting. Sane on the other wing, very fast. Will be playing as an inside forward more than likely. Aguero up front, who's still at the age of 29, is unbelievable. And then they've got a very creative midfield, but it's not a very physical midfield. So I think this is something, or an area where we can perhaps look to maybe try and assert our dominance on. Now, tactically, we are, of course, going to be playing with a defensive mentality up against a team like Man City. Try and keep things tight. Fabio isn't going to be a part of the team today because he's injured, so Jason Lowe steps in. Defensive, we've turned our tempo down a little bit. We've dropped our defensive line to try and, obviously, counter Aguero and Sane's pace. And we're looking to try and retain possession a little bit less. As far as the opposition instructions are concerned, obviously, as you can see, we're trying to show a lot of people on their weaker foot. It's kind of predicted, given the sheer number of playmakers in midfield. Closing down, it's going to be De Bruyne to begin things off. I'm going to go in hard on Aguero, but these will most likely change throughout the game because I don't want us to close down these creative players too much, because when you close down, it creates space behind the player that does close down. I mean, you've got to be really careful up against a midfield or a team in general with the quality that Man City's team has. So this is going to be something that's, you know, going to be played around with as the game progresses. But what's important and crucial for us is to go into this game, go into the first 20 minutes and ensure that at all costs we prioritise not conceding. But here we go. We kick off. Have I got this? Yep, it's on key. And here we go. De Bruyne already picking the ball up. And Gundogan, good tackle from Gouffran. Now the question is, can Blackburn Rovers mount a counter-attack? I said that a bit weird. A counter-attack. So 2 minutes in, Claudio picks up the ball and he scurries on. Plays the ball back to Lenihan. And we're keeping possession here, trying to frustrate Man City. And, of course, Andre Gray is going to be a very important player for us. As far as our starting lineup is concerned, took off Conway, brought off James McLean, and we are 1-0 up against Manchester City. Not even 3 minutes in. Very similar goal to the goal that we scored against Norwich. That's why I brought James McLean back into the side. Didn't feel like Conway would be able to cut it against Man City's players. Vincent Kompany is looking bold, but it's 1-0 to us. And now it's important that I tell the lads to tighten up. We've got to stay focused now. It's not every day you get a goal against these lot, but they are going to scurry forward. Good tackle from Lenihan, and now we can spring the counter-attack, and this is something the 4-4-2 does for us until Gouffran, just loses the ball like that, and Aguero scores. Yeah, Jason Steele really shouldn't have conceded that at his near post. Blame has to go to Gouffran, though. Shouldn't really lose a ball like that. Got tackled by Gundogan, I think it was. Not much the centre-backs could do, and that is just really disappointing. We worked hard to get that lead, and I don't want to sit back all game, you know what I mean? I don't want to constantly invite pressure on. We might, in the second half, look to go 5 in midfield, because as you can see, as soon as the Man City wing-backs start getting involved, it's so difficult for us to really do much. Guedioura tries to play the ball forwards to Danny Graham, doesn't fight for it enough, and now De Bruyne and Gundogan, the danger men. This is why they are dangerous. They find fullbacks like Jordi Alba. Gouffran plays the long ball forward, but Gouffran he's been really poor this game. I mean, he did well in the build-up towards the goal to play the ball central, towards James McLean. But other than that, he's just continuously kept on losing the ball. Man City dominating this game. We've got to make sure we don't concede here. And now, right, we need to change things up. We perhaps need to start closing them down a little bit more, up our tempo a little bit, so we can start getting that ball forward a little bit more and go for a mixed passing directness, because I just feel like, when we're looking to try and counter-attack, we're not pouncing forward as well as we potentially should. And we've seen numerous times now where Gouffran has picked up the ball wide and, not really done much with it. But Man City now starting to dominate this game. If we can see this out until half-time, this is where we'll start to make changes. Most of Man City's chances have come through the middle of the park. And obviously we've had to deal with these overlapping wing-backs, which are causing us problems. So I'm going to tell the team I'm not really happy with what I've seen so far. And I'm going to make some changes now, and I'll be back as soon as I've made the changes, and I'll discuss why I've made certain changes. Alright guys, we're back. We're going to try and experiment with a 5 in midfield of our own. Gouffran's going to come central to also be a box-to-box midfielder, and he's been told to try and close down more and tackle a little bit harder. I feel like the extra man in midfield, we're quite fortunate to have gone 1-0 up. So the extra man in midfield should hopefully allow us to constrict the space that the 3 Man City players in, if I can find teams, formations that De Bruyne, Gundogan are finding in the middle of the park, because they've been Man City's main danger men. If we can try and flood the middle of the park, it'll make life a lot more difficult for them. Danny Graham, of course, is the man we have to sacrifice, but he's not really offering much up front, not offering much pace up front either, not working hard enough for the ball. So it's kind of understandable why we've made the change we have. Elliot Bennett's going to come on. He's someone that's moaned a little bit about not getting too many opportunities in the first team, so this is his time to kind of shine. If it's not going well for him on the left wing, I'll just move him to right back and maybe bring on Craig Conway to give us that extra bit of quality. If we look at this Man City team in general, though, it's very difficult to see what we could potentially exploit. I think we're very fortunate that Samir Nasri is 30 years old, doesn't have that much pace on him. So the fact that we don't have Fabio at right back isn't something we're missing too much just yet. Team instruction-wise, we've gone back to defensive, gone back to slightly deeper. I am going to up the tempo a little bit, try and get the ball forward a little bit more, but at the same time, tell them to try and retain possession a little bit more, at least for the beginning of this second half, and then we'll try to tweak it from there on. It's always going to be tough against a team like Man City. If we can honestly walk away from the Etihad Stadium with a point, I'll be over the moon. But based on how things have gone so far, it really, guys, is not going to be easy. It's not going to be simple whatsoever. But let's try and keep the ball as well as we can. We know we have the quality to do it. And try and frustrate Man City, because they want the ball. They want as much possession as possible. If we can frustrate them that way, then it would work pretty well for us. So I've just noticed that Samir Nasri has just gotten injured, but he still seems to be playing. So the reason why I'm looking is I want to be sure who they are going to bring on. So it's going to be David Silva. So ooh. I swear that said David Silva on for Nasri. Who's come off? So he's taken off Leroy Sané and brought on Silva in midfield. Now, I feel like this is potentially something we can capitalise on now. If I bring off Lenihan and in return bring on Hope Akpan, the more physical Hope Akpan, tell him to tackle harder. I feel like, You know, if a few of them tackles go flying in the way of Silva, that'll be pretty good for us. Where's David Silva? Here he is. So yeah, we are actually gonna mark him tightly, and we're gonna try and close him down as much as possible. We are gonna go in hard on him as well. We're gonna tackle Gundogan hard as well, and we'll stick to that. Honestly, we've come and we are trying to play a bit of a typical Allardyce style game. We're playing for a point. We've gotten a goal, which we've miraculously gotten, to be fair. And, I say miraculously gotten, but we'll look at the stats. Yeah, Man City, to be fair, we've had more possession than Man City up against a Guardiola side, so that's pretty impressive. But you'd expect that with us being on a defensive mentality, trying to retain possession. But we've had 3 shots on target, and they've had 5. You know what I mean? So we've not actually played that poorly. It's just a case of how on earth we're gonna maybe pounce and find an opening. I think once we hit the 75th minute, it looks like yet another substitution has been made, and it's Lucas who's come on, yet another quality player. He's normally a left-back, though. It's interesting to see that he's playing centre-back, or he used to be a left-back on older versions of the game. And I think this is where, we change things and really try to make an impact. So we've still got Samir Nasri on the right-hand side. Jason Lowe hasn't had the best game of his career. So for that reason, Bennett is now going to move to fullback. He'll offer us a little bit more pace than what Jason Lowe would offer us. And as far as left mid's concerned, it's going to be a tough one. I think what I'm going to do is move McLean to left wing. And a part of me wants to gamble on bringing on Liam Feeney. Technically, he's not that great, but he's got pace. So I don't know if that's something in the final 10, 15 minutes or so of the game we can maybe look to use on the counter-attack. But then again, we look at Jordi Alba. He's not really going to be tired, is he? So maybe it might make more sense. I think it's going to make a little bit more sense to bring on the slightly more technical Craig Conway. We put Craig Conway on the left. Gouffran is another player we could potentially change in the middle of the park, but we're not going to go down that approach at the current moment in time. What we're going to do is try and stick things, leave things the way they currently are. Goalkeeper-wise, who's Jason Steele passing to? He's passing to our fullbacks. I'm happy with that. And we'll go from there and see how that develops. But so far, so good. Man City still piling on the pressure. 6 shots on target now. But here we go. Going into the final 5 minutes or so of the game. Change our instructions around. Play with a lower tempo. We're retaining possession. Let's be a little bit more disciplined and not necessarily look for the overlap. Just keep it nice and simple. And let's play for the point. A lot of people will be watching this and thinking, oh, flipping heck, too negative. It's like watching Sam Allardyce and Tony Pulis. But you know what? We've just gotten promoted, right, from the Championship. We've not really had much money to spend. And I'd like to attribute a lot of our success down to these little tweaks that we make. And it says, let the team know how big a result this is, given our underdog status. And I'm going to tell them, everybody thought we'd get beaten today. Good job. And we'll leave it at that. If someone had offered me a point before the game away at Man City, especially looking at their side, I would have taken it. Kind of disappointing because defensively we're actually pretty sound. We limited the opportunities that Man City had. If we look at the shots that they actually had, a lot of them shots came from outside of the area. And it was a very, very soft goal that we did actually concede from Aguero. Of course, it was Gouffran who made the mistake on the right wing. We can watch that goal again. And if Gouffran had just hoofed the ball up the pitch, to Danny Graham and not lost it there to Gundogan, then we would have won this game 1-0, as opposed to our goal, which I think, it may have been a little bit poor from the Man City defence, but we came, we saw, and we did exactly what we wanted to do. Andre Gray knows his strengths, knew that Man City would be playing a high line under Guardiola. Great finish from him, right under the crossbar, and we made it 1-0. So on another day, we may have actually won that, but you can't win them all in A. I'm not really going to complain that we haven't taken the game. And that is going to be it for this episode, guys. Next up, Chelsea. I know some people have been asking for episodes that have 2 games in them. And obviously, if you've been watching the past few episodes, you'll know that that's exactly what we've been doing. If you haven't seen the past few episodes, go and watch them before you come watch these newer videos. Just click on my channel. You can see them there and gain some context of the season so far. But we're on a nice, cheeky, unbeaten run after our fortunes weren't really great. And early on in the season, we were pretty shit. Excuse me, my French, away from home. Losing against Coventry, West Brom, West Ham, Watford. So to go away at Man City, I can't really complain. 6-game unbeaten run. Can we make it unbeaten at Chelsea? We beat them in the first game of the season at home, a Danny Graham double. Can he do it again? Only time will tell. And on that note, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Remember to hit that like button. Remember to hit the subscribe button as well. Also, just a cheeky one. It seems like that draw has resulted in Pep Guardiola losing his job. So not only have we narrowed the gap between them in 7th place and us in 8th place, credit where it's due to Newcastle, actually. They got promoted with us, and they're overachieving as well. So fair play, Rafa. But yeah, see you later, Pep Guardiola. Jason Wilcox, next Blackburn Rovers player, actually. He's a caretaker. What does it mean not being able to talk to? Caretaker manager for today. I guess that just makes the win a little bit sweeter because I don't really like Pep Guardiola's style of football. Bye-bye, Guardiola.